Jake Morrison stood at the observation window of the command center, staring at the stars he had known his entire life. The Kepler 442 system had been home to humans for 300 years, ever since the colony ship Frontier Dawn vanished from Earth's records. What started as 50,000 desperate colonists had grown into something nobody back home could have imagined. 200 million people now lived across 12 planets and 47 moons, building cities, raising families, and creating a civilization that was uniquely their own. The alarm on his desk blinked red. Jake turned away from the window and pulled up the report. His heart sank as he read the words. An alien scout ship had been detected near the mining operations on the outer belt. After 3 centuries of silence, someone had finally found them. Lisa Brennan burst through the door, her military uniform crisp despite the early hour. "You saw it too," she said. It wasn't a question. "How long until they report back to wherever they came from?" Jake asked. "Kyle says their communication signal already left. Faster than light transmission. Whoever they are, they know we're here now." Lisa pulled up a holographic display showing the alien vessel. It was sleek and dangerous looking, covered in weapons. "We have maybe a week before more ships arrive." Jake sat down heavily in his chair. For 300 years, the colony had lived in peace, hidden from the rest of the galaxy. They had found ancient alien ruins on the 4th planet, technology that helped them advance faster than anyone on Earth could have dreamed. They built ships, weapons, and systems that combined human creativity with alien engineering. But they had always wondered what would happen when the galaxy finally noticed them. Amy Walsh entered next, carrying a stack of data pads. As the colony's intelligence officer, she had spent decades monitoring radio signals from across the galaxy. "I've identified them," she said. "They're from the Talvek Empire, one of the big 5 powers in this region of space. And from what I've heard, they're not friendly to newcomers." "What do they want?" Jake asked. "Control, resources. They claim systems by right of discovery. If they found us first, they'll say this whole system belongs to them." Amy set down the data pads. "We have 2 choices. Hide and hope they go away, or reveal ourselves on our terms." Lisa shook her head. "We can't hide. They've seen our mining operations. They know someone advanced lives here. If we try to hide now, we look weak." Jake looked at both women. Lisa was right. They had built something incredible here. New Haven wasn't just a colony anymore. It was a nation. 200 million people who had never seen Earth, who called this system home. He wouldn't let some empire take it away because they happened to fly by first. "Call a council meeting," Jake said. "Every planetary governor, every military commander, every department head. We need to decide this together." 3 days later, the council voted. 47 votes to show themselves, 3 votes to remain hidden. New Haven would reveal itself to the galaxy, but not as beggars asking for permission to exist. They would introduce themselves as equals. Kyle Henderson worked around the clock, preparing their message to the galaxy. The chief scientist wanted to show humanity's achievements without revealing all their secrets. He compiled images of their cities, their ships, their terraformed worlds. He included their history, how the Frontier Dawn had crashed on the 2nd planet, how they had survived against impossible odds, how they had built a civilization from nothing. When the Talvek diplomatic ship arrived, Jake was ready. He stood in the communication center surrounded by his team. The alien face that appeared on the screen was reptilian, with golden eyes and silver scales. The translator worked perfectly. Another gift from the ancient ruins. "I am Ambassador Zeknor of the Talvek Empire," the alien said. "We have discovered your presence in this system. By galactic law, first contact grants us authority over these worlds. You will submit to our governance and—" "No," Jake said simply. The alien stopped talking, clearly surprised. This system belongs to humanity. We have lived here for 300 years. We have built cities, raised children, and died defending these worlds. They are ours, by right of blood and sacrifice. Zeknor's eyes narrowed. You are unknown. You have no rights under galactic law. Submit peacefully, and we will allow you to remain as citizens of the Empire. We're not asking for permission, Lisa said, stepping forward. We're informing you, the Kepler 442 system is under human control. Any attempt to claim it will be considered an act of war. The screen went dark. The Talvek ambassador had cut the connection. That went well, Amy said dryly. He'll report back to his empire, Kyle said. They'll analyze what we showed them. They'll try to figure out how strong we really are. Then we'll show them, Lisa said. We've been preparing for this day since our grandparents were children. Let's make sure the first impression is unforgettable. Jake nodded. The decision was made. Humanity had hidden in the darkness long enough. Now it was time to step into the light, and the galaxy would have to make room for them. He looked at his team, these people who had become his family over the years of planning for this moment. They were ready. New Haven was ready. The word spread quickly through the colony. People celebrated in the streets, not because war was coming, but because they could finally stop hiding. Children who had grown up learning about the stars could now imagine meeting the beings who lived among them. Engineers excitedly discussed sharing their technology with other species. Farmers talked about new crops from alien worlds. But in the command center, Jake and his team knew the hard part was just beginning. The galaxy was watching now, and humanity would have to prove they deserved their place among the stars. Lisa Brennan stood on the bridge of the Defiant Star, the colony's most powerful warship. Behind her stretched 300 vessels, each one built in the hidden shipyards, orbiting the system's gas giants. For 2 centuries, New Haven had been building, preparing, hoping they would never need this fleet. Now that hope was gone. "They're here," Ryan Tucker said from the captain's chair. The young man had trained his entire life for this moment. His father had commanded ships, and his grandfather before him. One Talvek cruiser dropping out of jump space at the edge of the system. "Just one?" Lisa asked. "They're testing us," Nicole Carter said from the weapons station, "seeing how we react. The real fleet is probably waiting just outside sensor range." Lisa smiled. Let them wait. Let them watch. New Haven was about to give the galaxy a show it would never forget. "Bring us to full alert," she ordered, "but hold position. Let them come to us." The Talvek cruiser moved slowly through the outer system, its sensors scanning everything. Lisa knew what they were looking for: military installations, ship production facilities, weapons platforms. They wanted to know if New Haven was a real threat or just colonists playing soldier. "Ma'am, they're launching fighter craft," Ryan reported. 12 small vessels spreading out in a search pattern. "Derek, are your people ready?" Lisa asked. On another channel, Derek Shaw's voice crackled through. "Special operations standing by. Just give the word." "Not yet. Let them get comfortable first." Lisa pulled up the tactical display. The Talvek fighters were good, she had to admit. Fast, maneuverable, and heavily armed. But they were flying in predictable patterns, following standard Empire doctrine. "They have no idea what's about to hit them," Nicole said quietly. Lisa nodded. The galaxy had been at peace for so long that their tactics had grown stale. Battles were fought according to ancient rules. Fleets meeting in open space like knights at a tournament. New Haven had studied every battle in recorded history, human and alien alike. They had learned from every mistake and improved on every victory. "Launch our own fighters," Lisa ordered. "Just 6. Let's see how they react." Ben Rodriguez led the squadron out, his voice calm over the radio. "Defiant Star, this is Falcon Leader, 6 birds away and heading toward contact." The Talvek fighters immediately changed formation, clustering together for mutual support. Exactly what Lisa expected. Their doctrine said superior numbers win battles. 6 against 12 should be easy. Ben's fighters didn't fly like any alien had seen before. They twisted and dove through space in patterns that seemed random but were carefully calculated. Each pilot moved independently yet perfectly coordinated with the others. It was like watching a dance. The Talvek opened fire first, energy beams cutting through space. Ben's fighters scattered, and not a single shot connected. Then the human pilots returned fire. Their weapons weren't the traditional energy beams. They were graviton disruptors, technology reverse-engineered from the ancient ruins and improved by human ingenuity. The first Talvek fighter simply crumpled, crushed by its own artificial gravity. The second tried to dodge but flew directly into a gravity well that appeared in its path. In 30 seconds, 6 enemy fighters were disabled without being destroyed. The other 6 retreated in confusion. "Tell Ben to let them go," Lisa said. "We want them to report what they saw." As the Talvek fighters fled back to their cruiser, Lisa gave her next order. "Show them the asteroid." The colony had prepared this demonstration carefully. A large asteroid, several kilometers across, had been positioned in the outer system. It was the kind of rock that could destroy a city if it fell on a planet. Nicole locked weapons on it. "Firing," she said calmly. The graviton disruptor beam was invisible, but its effect was not. The asteroid didn't explode. It compressed, matter crushing in on itself until the entire mass was no bigger than a house. Then it simply vanished, collapsed beyond the point where normal matter could exist. "Dear God," Ryan whispered, "we could do that to their ships." "We could," Lisa agreed. "But we won't unless they force us. The goal is to scare them, not start a war." The Talvek cruiser was already turning, preparing to jump away. But before it could, Jake's voice came through on an open broadcast, one that every ship in the system could hear. "Ambassador Zeknor, this was a peaceful demonstration of New Haven's defensive capabilities. We could have destroyed your ship and your fighters, but we chose not to. We want peace, but we will defend our home. Return to your empire and tell them the truth. The Kepler 442 system is not undefended. It is not weak, and it is not for sale." The Talvek cruiser jumped away without responding. "Think they got the message?" Ryan asked. "Oh, they got it," Lisa said. "The question is how they'll respond. Empires don't like being embarrassed." Over the next week, news of the encounter spread through the galaxy faster than light. Trader ships carried the story from station to station. The footage of the demonstration was copied and shared across 1,000 worlds. A hidden human colony had faced down the Talvek Empire and made them run. In New Haven's command center, Amy Walsh monitored the galactic response. "It's working," she reported to Jake. "People are talking about us. Some are scared, some are impressed, but everyone is paying attention." "What about the Talvek?" Jake asked. Amy's expression darkened. "They're assembling a fleet, a big one. I'm intercepting military communications. They're calling in ships from across their territory. They can't let this insult stand." "How long do we have?" 2 months, maybe 3. Jake looked at Lisa. "Can we win?" "Against their fleet? Yes, but the cost will be high. Once we fight them, there's no going back. Every empire in the galaxy will have to decide how they feel about a human colony that can defeat the Talvek." "Then we need to make sure we're not alone," Jake said. He turned to Amy. "Start reaching out to the other powers, quietly. See who might be interested in trade agreements, technology sharing, anything that makes us valuable alive rather than conquered." "Already on it," Amy said with a smile. "I've been compiling a list of their secrets for years. Time to start making friends by proving we're useful." The next phase was beginning. New Haven had shown its strength. Now it needed to show its value. The galaxy was watching, and humanity would have to prove they deserved their place among the stars. Amy Walsh had spent 20 years of her life listening to alien communications, learning their languages, understanding their cultures. Now all that work was about to pay off. She sat in a secure room deep beneath New Haven's capital city, surrounded by screens showing representatives from 5 different galactic powers. The Talvek Empire was obvious, their ambassador Zeknor glaring at her with barely concealed rage. But there were others. The Gen Collective, a hive mind species that valued efficiency above all. The Arathi Federation, peaceful explorers who preferred diplomacy to war. The Kryn Dominion, warriors who respected strength. And the Free Merchant Guild, traders who only cared about profit. "Thank you for accepting our invitation," Amy said in perfect galactic common, a language that had taken her 5 years to master. "New Haven wishes to establish formal relations with the recognized powers of this region." "You have no right to establish anything," Zeknor hissed. "You are squatters on Empire territory." Amy smiled politely. "Actually, Ambassador, we have every right. The colony was established 300 years ago, long before the Talvek Empire expanded into this sector. By your own laws, we have priority claim through continuous occupation." "You were lost, unregistered. You have no legal standing." "We were never lost, just overlooked." Amy pulled up a document on the shared screen. "Here is the original charter for the Frontier Dawn Colony mission, filed with Earth's colonial authority in 2547. Here are the settlement records, signed by the original 50,000 colonists. And here is 300 years of continuous habitation records. Our claim is legal under both human and galactic law." The Arathi representative, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms, spoke up. "This is unprecedented. A hidden colony developing alone for so long. What exactly are you offering the galaxy?" Amy had been waiting for this question. "Technology, resources, and knowledge. New Haven has developed unique innovations during our isolation. We're willing to share some of these in exchange for recognition and trade agreements." "What kind of technology?" the Kryn representative asked. He was a massive creature, covered in armor-like scales. "Graviton manipulation, advanced terraforming processes, quantum sensor networks, and several others we're prepared to discuss with interested parties." Amy paused. "We're also willing to share something more valuable. Information." Nathan Pierce stepped forward, the colony's economic strategist. "We've been monitoring galactic communications for 200 years. Quietly, carefully. We know things that might surprise you." The representatives leaned forward. Information was the currency of power in galactic politics, and Nathan had just offered them a fortune. "For example," Nathan continued, "we know the Gen Collective is facing a protein shortage because their primary breeding worlds are failing. We can provide agricultural technology that would solve that problem." He turned to the Kryn representative. "We know the Dominion is searching for rare metals to fuel your expansion. We have extensive mining operations that could supply your needs." One by one, Nathan listed things that New Haven knew, things that each power thought were secret. The representatives were silent, realizing that this human colony had been watching them for centuries, learning their weaknesses and strengths. "This is blackmail," Zeknor said finally. "No," Amy corrected. "It's business. We're offering mutually beneficial arrangements. You recognize our sovereignty, and we'll provide resources and technology that benefit everyone. We're not threatening to reveal your secrets. We're offering to help solve your problems." The Free Merchant Guild representative, a creature that looked like a floating jellyfish, spoke for the first time. "What guarantees do we have that you'll honor these agreements?" Michelle Garza entered the discussion. As the colony's xenobiologist, she had studied alien psychology for decades. "We're offering more than trade agreements. We're offering cultural exchange. We want to send students to your worlds, learn from you, share our art and music and ideas. We want to be part of the galactic community, not conquerors or isolationists." "Pretty words," Zeknor said. But you've already demonstrated military power. How do we know you won't use it to expand? Because we don't need to, Jake said, appearing on screen from the command center. We have 12 planets and 47 moons. We have resources for centuries of growth. We have no interest in empire building. We just want to live in peace and trade freely. The Talvek Empire does not negotiate with illegal colonies, Zeknor declared. We will enforce galactic order. Then you'll do it alone, the Arathi representative said quietly. The Federation is willing to recognize New Haven's sovereignty in exchange for the terraforming technology you mentioned. The room erupted in angry voices. The Talvek ambassador was shouting. The Kryn representative was laughing. The Gen Collective representative was calculating probabilities, and the Merchant Guild representative was already drafting trade contracts. Amy sat back and let them argue. The seed was planted. One major power had recognized them. Others would follow, drawn by the promise of technology and resources they couldn't get anywhere else. The Talvek would find themselves isolated, their threats empty without support from other empires. Alex Chen, watching from the communications center, launched the next phase of their plan. Across the galaxy, on thousands of information networks, a message began to spread. It showed New Haven's cities, beautiful and clean. It showed their farms, feeding millions. It showed their schools, teaching children of all ages. It showed humanity at its best, peaceful and productive. The propaganda is working, Alex reported. We're getting responses from civilian populations across the galaxy. They're asking their governments why they can't trade with these friendly humans. Why start a war when we could be partners? In the diplomatic chamber, the Gen Collective representative spoke. The collective sees efficiency in this arrangement. We accept New Haven's offer of agricultural technology in exchange for sovereignty recognition. 2 down, 3 to go. The Kryn Dominion representative stood, his massive frame intimidating even over a video link. The Dominion respects strength. You have proven yours. We will recognize your claim and discuss mining contracts. 3 down. The Free Merchant Guild representative pulsed with color, their species' version of excited speech. The guild never turns down profitable opportunities. We'll recognize you and establish trade routes immediately. 4 down. Only the Talvek Empire remained opposed, and they were now alone. Zeknor's face was dark with fury. You may have bought these fools with promises and tricks, but the Empire will not be swayed. We will assemble our fleet, and we will take what is rightfully ours. That's your choice, Jake said calmly. But know this. If you attack New Haven, you attack alone. Your allies have abandoned you. Your Empire's economy needs the resources we control. And your people are watching, wondering why you want war instead of peace. The Talvek ambassador cut the connection. Amy looked at her team. We did everything we could. Now we wait to see if they choose wisdom or pride. Nathan pulled up economic projections. Even if they attack, we've won the political battle. 4 of the 5 major powers recognize us. Trade is already being negotiated. In 6 months, New Haven will be integrated into the galactic economy. The Talvek can't stop that. Unless they destroy us first, Michelle said quietly. They won't, Jake said with confidence he didn't entirely feel. We're too valuable now. Attacking us would make them enemies of everyone who wants our technology. They'll huff and threaten, but in the end, economics will win. But deep down, everyone in the room knew the truth. The Talvek Empire had been embarrassed. And empires didn't forgive that easily. War was coming, and all their diplomacy had only ensured that when it happened, New Haven wouldn't face it alone. The Talvek fleet arrived exactly 3 months after the diplomatic talks failed. 500 warships dropped out of jump space at the edge of the Kepler 442 system, the largest military force seen in this region in 200 years. On the bridge of the lead vessel, Admiral Krevnar looked at the peaceful system before him with cold satisfaction. "Deploy all forces," he commanded. "Fighter screens forward, heavy cruisers in the second wave, dreadnoughts in reserve. We'll crush this human colony in one decisive strike." But in New Haven's command center, Lisa Brennan watched the fleet arrive and smiled. "They came exactly where we wanted them." Jake stood beside her, looking at the tactical display. The Talvek fleet was positioned perfectly, clustered together for mutual support, following standard Empire doctrine. They had learned nothing from their previous encounter. "All defense platforms online?" Lisa asked. Kelly Simmons, monitoring the system-wide defenses, nodded. 200 platforms fully operational. They're hidden in the asteroid belts, on moons, even inside the gas giant atmospheres. The Talvek have no idea what they're flying into. "Good. Hold fire until they're committed. Let them think they have the advantage." Ryan Tucker's voice came through from the Defiant Star. "Fleet is ready to deploy, Commander. All 300 ships are standing by." "Keep them hidden behind the fourth planet," Lisa ordered. "Let the Talvek think our entire defense is just the platforms." The Talvek fleet began moving forward, confident and unstoppable. Their fighter craft launched first, thousands of small vessels spreading out in a standard search pattern. They expected maybe a few dozen defenders, some hastily assembled resistance. What they got was something else entirely. The first defense platform revealed itself by opening fire. A graviton beam lashed out, catching 3 enemy fighters in an artificial gravity well. They crumpled like paper in a fist. Then another platform fired, and another. All across the system, hidden weapons awakened. "Contact!" a Talvek officer shouted. "Multiple defense platforms! Hundreds of them! They're everywhere!" Admiral Krevnar stared at his tactical display in disbelief. The humans had turned the entire star system into a fortress. Every moon, every asteroid, every piece of space debris potentially hid weapons. His fleet was flying into a maze of overlapping fire zones. "All ships, defensive formation," he ordered. "Focus fire on the platforms. Destroy them one by one." But the platforms were just the beginning. Derek Shaw and his special operations teams were already in position, hidden among the enemy fleet in small stealth ships. They had spent weeks infiltrating the Talvek staging areas, attaching devices to enemy hulls, learning their communication codes. "Execute infiltration protocols," Derek ordered quietly. Across the enemy fleet, hidden devices activated. Communications jammed. Navigation systems reported false information. Weapons targeting computers developed mysterious errors. The Talvek fleet began firing at ghosts while missing real targets. On the flagship, chaos reigned. "Sir, we're receiving conflicting orders from multiple sources," an officer reported. "Some ships are turning back, others are advancing. Formation is breaking down." "Override them all!" Krevnar roared. "Direct command from the flagship only." That's when Ryan Tucker's fleet revealed itself. 300 warships emerged from behind the fourth planet, perfectly positioned to catch the enemy fleet from the side. The Talvek had expected a defensive battle. Instead, they were facing a coordinated attack from multiple directions. Ben Rodriguez led his fighter wings into the chaos. Unlike the Talvek pilots who flew in tight formations, the human pilots operated independently, each one a swarm of one. They dove through the enemy fleet like sharks through a school of fish, striking and vanishing before return fire could touch them. "This is impossible," a Talvek captain broadcast. "They're using our own system against us. They know our tactics better than we do." He was right. Amy Walsh's decades of intercepted communications had taught New Haven everything about Talvek military doctrine. Lisa knew how they would respond before they did it themselves. "Cruiser wave, advance," Lisa ordered. 40 of New Haven's heavy ships pushed forward, their shields absorbing enemy fire while their graviton weapons systematically disabled Talvek vessels. They didn't destroy them, just crippled them. Lisa wanted prisoners, not corpses. Admiral Krevnar realized his mistake too late. His fleet was surrounded, divided, and being picked apart piece by piece. His formation was in chaos. His communications were compromised, and somehow the enemy knew exactly where his ships would be before they got there. "How are they doing this?" he demanded. The answer was displayed on Kelly Simmons's screen in the command center. The quantum-entangled sensor network that New Haven had developed gave them perfect information about every object in the system. No stealth technology could hide from it. No jamming could block it. Lisa could see every Talvek ship in real time, predict their movements, and counter them before they happened. "It's not even a fair fight," Kyle Henderson muttered, watching from the science station. "We're playing chess while they're playing checkers." "War isn't supposed to be fair," Jake said quietly. "It's supposed to end as quickly as possible with as few deaths as possible." Derek Shaw's voice came through on a private channel. "Boarding teams in position on the flagship, ready to execute on your command." Lisa looked at Jake. This was the moment they had planned for. Capturing the enemy admiral would end the battle decisively, but it also meant putting their people at risk. "Do it," Jake said. Derek and his commandos breached the flagship from 3 different points simultaneously. They moved through the ship like ghosts, stunning rather than killing, using weapons that the Talvek had never seen before. Sonic disruptors, neural dampeners, technology that left enemies unconscious but alive. Admiral Krevnar was on the bridge, still trying to coordinate his shattered fleet, when Derek walked through the door. The Talvek admiral reached for his sidearm, but Derek was faster. A brief blue flash, and the admiral collapsed, unconscious. "Package secured," Derek reported. "Flagship is ours." Lisa's voice echoed across every Talvek ship in the system. "Attention, Talvek fleet. Your admiral is in our custody, unharmed. Your formation is broken. Your communication is compromised. You cannot win this battle. I am offering you one chance to surrender with honor. Power down your weapons, maintain position, and you will be treated as prisoners of war under galactic conventions. Refuse, and we will disable every ship in your fleet." There was a long silence. Then, one by one, Talvek ships began powering down their weapons. On the bridge of the Defiant Star, Ryan Tucker let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "They're surrendering. All of them." The battle was over. New Haven hadn't lost a single ship. The Talvek Empire's fleet, 500 strong, was defeated and captured. And the galaxy, watching through long-range sensors and information networks, witnessed the impossible. A human colony, hidden for 3 centuries, had just defeated one of the 5 major powers without firing a single fatal shot. The victory was so complete, so one-sided, that it seemed like magic. But it wasn't magic. It was 300 years of preparation, innovation, and determination. In the command center, Jake allowed himself a small smile. "Treat the prisoners well. Medical care for the wounded, food and comfortable quarters for the rest. Let them see that we're not monsters." Admiral Krevnar woke up in a clean, comfortable cell. His wounds had been treated. His uniform had been cleaned. A tray of food sat on the table, and the door was transparent, showing other Talvek officers in similar cells, all being treated respectfully. Jake came to visit him that evening. "Admiral, I wanted to speak with you personally." "You've won," Krevnar said bitterly. "What more do you want?" "I want you to understand something. We didn't want this war. We don't want to be your enemies. We just want to live in peace." Jake sat down across from the Admiral. "In a week, we're going to send you home, you and all your people. We'll repair your damaged ships and give you supplies for the journey." "Why?" Krevnar asked, confused. "We attacked you. We tried to destroy you." "Because revenge is expensive and peace is profitable," Jake said simply. "We're going to ask you to deliver a message to your empire. Tell them what you saw here. Tell them that New Haven is strong, but not aggressive. Tell them we're willing to establish trade and diplomatic relations. Tell them the war is over and we won, and now we're offering friendship." Krevnar looked at the human for a long moment. "Your tactics were perfect. Your weapons were superior. Your soldiers showed mercy when they could have killed. I have never seen warfare conducted with such precision and restraint." "We studied your empire's tactics for 200 years, Jake admitted. "We knew how you would fight. But more importantly, we knew we didn't want to fight at all. Everything we did was designed to end the battle quickly with minimal casualties. War should be the last resort, not the first choice." The Admiral nodded slowly. "I will deliver your message. But I warn you, the Empire has pride. This defeat will not be easily forgotten." "I'm counting on that," Jake said. "I'm counting on them remembering exactly what happened here, because next time they consider starting a war, they'll remember how this one ended." News of the battle spread across the galaxy within hours. The Free Merchant Guild immediately announced major trade deals with New Haven. The Arathi Federation sent ambassadors. The Gen Collective requested technology transfers. Even the Kryn Dominion, warriors to their core, expressed respect for humanity's tactical brilliance. And 6 months later, the Talvek Empire quietly signed a non-aggression pact with New Haven. They didn't apologize publicly, but they recognized the colony's sovereignty and opened trade negotiations. Pride demanded they maintain appearances, but practical economics demanded they accept reality. New Haven had won the battle for survival. Now, they would have to win the peace. 6 months after the battle, Amy Walsh stood before the Galactic Council for the first time. The massive chamber held representatives from 200 species across dozens of star systems. Above her, the council seal rotated slowly, a symbol of unity and cooperation that had endured for thousands of years. She wasn't nervous. After spending decades listening to galactic communications, after negotiating with 5 major powers simultaneously, after helping plan the defense that defeated an empire's fleet, standing here felt almost simple. "Representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, "I present the petition of New Haven for full membership and voting rights in this body. We come not as supplicants but as equals. We have proven our civilization's strength, our people's resilience, and our commitment to peaceful coexistence." The Talvek representative stood immediately. "The Empire objects. This colony developed in isolation, without following proper protocols. They cannot be trusted." "The Empire objects because they lost a war," Amy said calmly. "But let's talk about trust. New Haven has existed for 300 years without a single act of aggression. We've shared technology freely. We've offered trade on favorable terms. We've treated prisoners with honor. What exactly makes us untrustworthy?" The Arathi representative spoke up. "The Federation supports New Haven's petition. In 6 months, they have proven themselves valuable allies and honest traders. Their terraforming technology has already helped us restore 2 damaged worlds." "The Gen Collective supports the petition," another voice added. "Their agricultural innovations have solved our food shortage. Logic dictates they should be recognized." One by one, representatives spoke. Some supported, some opposed, but the tide was clearly flowing in New Haven's favor. The galaxy had watched their rise, had benefited from their technology, and had learned to respect their strength. Kyle Henderson sat in the gallery watching the proceedings. Beside him, Tyler Grant, a young pilot who had fought in the battle, was practically bouncing with excitement. "We're really doing it. We're joining the galaxy." "We've always been part of the galaxy," Kyle corrected gently. "We just didn't know it yet." The vote was called. 200 representatives pressed their voting buttons. The results appeared on the central display. 147 in favor, 41 opposed, 12 abstentions. New Haven was officially a member of the Galactic Council. Amy allowed herself a smile. "On behalf of the people of New Haven, I accept this honor and responsibility. We pledge to uphold the Council's charter, to contribute to galactic peace and prosperity, and to share our knowledge for the benefit of all species. After the ceremony, representatives crowded around Amy, offering congratulations and proposing meetings. The galaxy wanted to know more about these humans who had appeared from nowhere and changed everything. Laura Stevens, the colony's historical archivist, opened New Haven's records to the galaxy that day. She released carefully edited documents showing the colony's 300-year journey, the desperate early years when survival was uncertain, the breakthrough when they discovered the ancient ruins, the slow growth as they learned to thrive in their new home, the decision to remain hidden rather than risk discovery, and finally, the choice to reveal themselves on their own terms. "This is our story," Laura said in her presentation to the Council's Historical Committee. "A story of human resilience, innovation, and hope. We didn't choose isolation. It was forced upon us when our colony ship crashed. But we chose to make the best of it. We chose to build something worth protecting. And when the time came, we chose to share what we had built rather than hoard it." The response was overwhelming. Alien historians requested access to more records. Universities across the galaxy wanted to establish exchange programs. Young aliens dreamed of visiting the human worlds and seeing what a hidden civilization had accomplished. Ashley Drake found herself negotiating trade agreements with dozens of new partners. The colony's rare Earth elements were in high demand. Their manufacturing capabilities attracted major corporations. Their advanced technology opened doors everywhere. "We're going to be rich," Ashley reported to Jake. "I mean really rich. Every major economy wants what we have." "Money isn't the goal," Jake reminded her. "Security is. Every trade agreement is another reason for them to keep us safe. Every technology we share is another species that benefits from our existence. We're weaving ourselves into the fabric of galactic civilization so thoroughly that attacking us would be attacking everyone." Nathan Pierce was already seeing the results. "Economic integration is proceeding faster than projected. In 5 years, New Haven will be a critical hub in 3 major trade routes. We're becoming indispensable." But not everyone was happy with humanity's rise. On distant worlds, extremist groups protested. "Humans came from nowhere," they said. "They hide their true strength. They cannot be trusted." Isolated incidents of violence against human traders occurred, though they were quickly condemned by most governments. Michelle Garza launched the Cultural Exchange Program to counter the fear. Young humans traveled to alien worlds to study their art, music, and literature. Alien students came to New Haven to learn human history and culture. Slowly, relationships formed, friendships developed. Fear turned to curiosity, and curiosity to understanding. Tyler Grant was one of the first exchange students, spending 6 months on an Arathi station. He learned their philosophy of peaceful exploration. He studied their advanced sensor technology. He made friends with beings who looked nothing like him but thought and dreamed just as deeply. "They're not so different from us," Tyler reported in his final presentation. "They want the same things: safety for their families, prosperity for their children, knowledge of the universe, peace instead of war. We have more in common than we have differences." On New Haven itself, life was changing rapidly. The colony that had hidden for 3 centuries was now a beacon. Ships arrived daily from across the galaxy, bringing goods, ideas, and visitors. The capital city of Pioneer's Landing grew rapidly, adding new districts to accommodate the increased population and the alien embassies being established. Jake walked through the market district one evening, seeing things that would have been impossible a year ago. A Gen collective merchant selling their famous crystalline art. An Arathi restaurant serving cuisine from their homeworld. Human children playing with alien children, laughing in a mixture of languages. "Is this what you imagined?" Lisa asked, walking beside him. She had resigned from active military command, taking instead a position as security advisor. With peace established, her skills were needed for protection rather than warfare. "I imagined we'd have to fight to survive," Jake admitted. "I imagined years of war, maybe decades. I never imagined we'd be accepted so quickly." "We weren't accepted because we asked nicely," Lisa reminded him. "We were accepted because we proved we were too strong to conquer and too valuable to ignore. The battle was necessary. It showed the galaxy we couldn't be pushed around. But the diplomacy is what made it permanent," Jake said. "Amy's work, Kyle's technology sharing, Michelle's cultural programs. That's what turned us from a threat into a partner." Lisa nodded. "We're building something here. Something bigger than just New Haven. We're showing the galaxy that newcomers can contribute, that different doesn't mean dangerous, that there's room for more voices in the galactic community." That night, Jake stood again at the observation window where this had all begun. The stars looked the same, but everything else had changed. Humanity had stepped out of the shadows and taken its place among the great civilizations of the galaxy. The journey wasn't over. Challenges remained. Prejudice existed. Threats lurked in unexplored space. But for the first time in 300 years, humanity wasn't facing those challenges alone. The next morning, Jake received a message from Earth. After 3 centuries of silence, the homeworld had finally heard about New Haven. They were sending a delegation, wanting to reestablish contact with their lost children. Jake smiled. New Haven had started as Earth's lost colony. Now they would meet as equals, both having traveled their own paths through the stars. A new era had begun. Humanity was no longer hiding. The galaxy had made room for them, and among the stars, in a system called Kepler 442, a dream that started with 50,000 desperate colonists had become a civilization that changed the galaxy forever. The story of New Haven was really just beginning. Ships were being built for exploration missions to uncharted space, with alien allies invited to join the crews. Scientists from a dozen species collaborated in research facilities on the colony worlds. Artists from across the galaxy came to study human creativity and share their own. But most importantly, children were growing up in a galaxy where humans were normal, accepted, and respected. They would never know what it was like to hide. They would take for granted the things Jake's generation had fought for. And that, Jake realized, was the greatest victory of all. The hidden colony had revealed itself. The galaxy had been shocked. But now, as trade flourished and friendships formed, as technology was shared and cultures blended, shock was giving way to something better: acceptance, partnership, hope for the future. And in the end, that was what humanity had always wanted. Not conquest or dominance, but simply the right to exist, to grow, and to contribute to the great story of the galaxy. New Haven had earned that right, and now they would make the most of it.